everyone, and welcome back to Random Alien Brain Droppings. I'm Suzanne Chancellor, and today's guest is someone, in my humble opinion, who's the most innovative, spiritual, and creative musicians of our time. And his voice of 1,000 Angels is unmistakable for that of the one and only Jon Anderson. Welcome to the show, Jon.
Thank you very much for the lovely introduction.
Oh, you're so deserving of it, let me tell you. To quote you from one of my most favorite songs of yours, The Revealing Science of God, I must have waited all my life for this moment, and I truly have. It's such a pleasure and an honor to have this conversation with you. I first listened to my very first Yes album in 1974, which was the album Relayer. And after being brought up in a family that listened to, Glenn Campbell and Engelbert Humperdinck and the Beatles, I don't know what it was that drew me to this incredible composition, but I was completely spellbound at 12 years old. And I don't know what it was about the music, but it spoke to my soul. And it wasn't necessarily the lyrics, but it was the tone of the music. And not only that, but the wonderful artwork of the album cover by Roger Dean. It really spoke to me. So I just wanted to ask you, Jon, based on your background, when you first started into the music business and when you were a kid, what inspired you to go so big?
Well, I was very excited about music when I was about 2 or 3 years old. I used to listen to the radio quite a lot, and I listened to sort of classical music, modern dance music in the 40s, because my mom and dad, they're ballroom dance people. They loved dancing. So music was around me all the time. And as I grew up, I just became more amazed how music was created. I think when I would listen to, in those days, I would listen to Elgar, a famous English composer, and wondered how he created that music. And then I think by the time I was 20, 21, the Beatles were happening like crazy in the 60s, and their inventiveness just confused me more than anything. How could they come up with such great music? And I listened a lot at that time to the popular classics, which were sort of Holst's The Planet Suite, and let me think, New World Symphony, Dvorak, and Tchaikovsky. And then, all of a sudden, I started listening to Stravinsky. And that was when I started to believe that if I was going to be in a band, I wanted to do things like this. I wanted to do crazy, wild, wonderful music. And make music that was more like an adventure rather than, I went through that period in London. I was trying to get a gig. I've been in a band for 5 years up to that time and left the band because they wouldn't rehearse. And I was so excited about music, modern music. So I found myself in London looking for a gig, looking for a band. And that's when I met Chris Squire. So we started Yes together. And there I was working with musicians that were very flexible. They were very interested in doing long-form structured pieces of music. And because I'd listened a lot to, at that time, I was listening a lot to the classics, as I mentioned, the Planet Suite is just amazing. And a lot of early Yes, the arrangements were very similar to those structures. And probably by, I think about 2 or 3 years into the band touring, I started listening to Sibelius and Stravinsky. And that's when I realized I was working with a band of musicians. Rick Wakeman had just joined the band, and he knew all this music, and he could actually play it, at rehearsals. And that's how we got into designing longer form pieces of music. It was like when Yes first started, I thought we were a bit too old to be pop stars anyway. Kind of crazy. And from that moment, it was a question of working with musicians that were interested in pushing the envelope, if you like, musical envelope. And that's what we did all the way through the 70s. We had the best time because there were no boundaries. And like there you were, 12 years old, buying Relayer. And as far as I knew, when I created music with the band, all I thought about was what it would sound like on stage and the performance and what we could take the audience on a journey. And Relayer is, it's a pretty dark piece of music, and then at the end it comes very light. Soon, oh, soon the light, So in a way, that's how it sort of evolved,
Right. Well, I think it's really interesting that you were obviously very drawn to that, I think, also when you were quite younger. And it's so wonderful that these quality musicians basically fell in your lap. Maybe the universe provided that for you at that moment to have that same vision that you and Chris did. And obviously with Rick Wakeman, I mean, my goodness, I mean, he is, the end all be all of the most amazing keyboardist that there ever was, in my humble opinion. But I don't think that there are that many bands that had that vision that have stood the test of time like Yes has. So that is really saying something about where this is really coming from.
Well, in some ways, I think, like you said, the musical gods were with us. And when I do my solo show, I do a couple of songs from Topographic Oceans, sort of dedicating it to the people, the fans that stayed with the band through those turbulent mid sort of 70s time, where, record companies just wanted you to make more roundabouts, some more fragile albums. And the more they asked, the more I decided I didn't want to do them. I think it was just being progressive and aggressive at the same time, that I just wanted to do music as an adventure. And we actually, as I would say to friends, talk about the evolving of Dying Yes is, we had to go through the topographic times, close to the edge, gates of delirium to get to Awaken. Because if you get the chance to listen to Awaken, without thinking about what it is, just listen to it. It's a very, very purely honest, magical piece of music.
Really
and
is.
It's got nothing to do with radio, making money, or anything. It's just a great piece of music, and I feel so grateful and thankful that I was able to be part of that experience.
And I'm really thankful and grateful, and I think that I can speak for all of us Yes fans that you did push the boundaries there. And I know that I myself have gone to a concert where the whole concert basically consisted of maybe 3 songs, and I was so elated that you actually went there and pleased the ones that were there for that very reason. So thank you for that. But one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about today is I've been doing some research on certain musicians who felt they've had divine intervention while composing their music. And I came across an interview where you stated that music and art came from the Pleiades. And I'm very curious as to what made you come to this conclusion.
Well, the idea was very simple. Where does music come from? Where does it evolve from? And if you listen to the birds singing and the music of the earth and how the human experience evolved through millions of years into where we are now, that music had to come from somewhere, the sort of the dream part of music, and most art, theater, dance, every kind of art, there's a dream part to it. There's a sort of link to the universe, if you like. There's a link to the divine in all music, in all dance, in all art. And I just felt, and I'd see the Seven Sisters almost every night where I lived in those days. And I always wondered what they were called, and I found out they were called the Pleiades. And it's these 7 beautiful stars that are there every night. And it just seemed logical for me. That's where everything comes from, this sort of beautiful connection with our divine consciousness, musically, artistically, and so on. And it might have been written somewhere, and I just read it somewhere in a book, or maybe not, I don't know. But I just thought, it just feels natural that music and art just came to us as a gift, to keep us connected to the divine. I know it's written in some scriptures that the soul would never move without music. And I think that's a beautiful sort of idea.
That is a really beautiful idea. And you said something about the dreams, coming to you. Maybe have you ever woken up from a night's sleep or had a dream or meditation and had a song just like appear in your lap out of nowhere?
Yeah, I wrote a song. This is, gosh, it happens all the time, actually. But I remember vividly in 71, around that time, I woke in the middle of the night. I always kept a cassette machine next to the bed, and I just sang this song into the cassette machine. We're actually on tour, and I sang this song, and I put the tape away, and I forgot about it for a couple of years, and then I found it, and I listened to what I was singing, and it was word for word exactly correct. I didn't have to change anything. The words were pure and correct. And
Wow.
It's a song I called Or, O-R, the sort of apostrophe. And it's on a record somewhere, O'er the green mountains and o'er the green valleys. I walked through the country and felt me an age. The people so strong, needing peace for so long, the homelands lie broken.
Nice.
And it's just one of those songs. It's an ancient Celtic energy, and you think, well, that's where songs come from. It's part of my life. I sing songs every day. I have I don't think twice about singing. I just love it.
I think it's wonderful. I know that you should be doing that because your voice is just amazing and very, like I said before, very unmistakable. I also have to say that your lyrics speak so much about positivity and love and awakening and everything that you sing about seems to have a message for humanity. And I feel very strongly that that's the way that we should be heading. And I think that you do too. That being said, do you ever feel like you've been given a divine message that you need to share with us via your music and maybe to change the vibration of the earth?
Well, I think we all are. We're all connected as one, and each and every one of us has a way of expressing themselves and being honest about their appeal and love of life, and to express that in a song or in lyric is just the way I do it. Almost every day I'll see something on the internet, a painting. Somebody just sent me an amazing short video of this guy who took a photograph of these birds on some wires, and there were 5 wires, so the birds were sort of in place just like musical notes. So he did a composition on there where they were sitting, and the composition is magic. And you think, wow, that's a gift. All the time there are people connected to that giving, and giving is everything. And I've learned that over the years. And to be able to sing and write lyrics the way I do, it's just a natural event. I don't really contemplate too much about it because I think that would lose the simplicity of what I'm trying to say. As you said,
right?
I sing about love and peace and goodwill, and I think that comes from maybe the love and peace and goodwill that I felt in the 60s and the Beatles songs and all the love, the love that was going around in those days, and we were changing the world. And we did change the world. We changed our perception of the world, and slowly but surely the wars have diminished over the years. They're still around, but they're still getting more under control. There is a more urgency going around our world to find out more about the dark side of life, the incredible greed that goes on in life, and the incredible confusion of how we can survive on a planet where a third of the planet is starving and a third of the planet is too rich, and the other third of the planet is crazy and upset about everything. And revolution is coming, but it's a more gentle revolution. It's a more spiritual revolution that's coming. And probably that's what I sing about, and I've been singing about that for quite a while, that we are in the midst of a change. I did an album called Change We Must. It was a title of a book of this lady that I met in Hawaii, and Nana Viri was so connected to the interdimensional reality of this beautiful Earth Mother. And that's another side of the coin, you know. I was watching the advertising the other day for the new sort of super duper hit movie, if it will be, of I think it's Angelina Jolie. She's a witch or something like that.
Yes,
But all
Maleficent.
all I see is the beautiful artwork we're doing now with the computer, explaining how fairies look and interdimensional reality is coming, and they're coming through the use of computer animation. The storyline is the same old storyline. I'm not interested in that, but I love the visuals. It's the same with Avatar. We're going through an incredible period of time where we're actually going to be seeing 3D without glasses very soon, and we're going to be seeing more art through visual experiences that are going to raise our consciousness. It's a logical step to take rather than keep repeating the same story over and over again. So that's where we're going. I think eventually the right sort of film director is going to come through, but he's going to need $1 billion to make the movie. But what the heck, the money's not really the point. But he's going to make something that will change our consciousness, just like, you know, Spielberg did that with Third Encounters of the whatever that was. You remember?
Yeah, Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
That's the one.
Yes.
And
yes.
you know, these things came, and they weren't about war. It was about music and da 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 da.
Exactly.
You know, the sound of music and everything.
Right.
It's like it was such a revelation, that movie.
It really was.
And of course, you know, it still works today.
Right.
So yeah, you have these feelings that no matter what, a lot of people are all over the world, on every level. People all over China, India, all over the world. People are acknowledging that we're slowly raising our consciousness. It's a very delicate thing. It takes time.
Yes, it does. And it's really interesting that you say that piece with Close Encounters and the music. That was, I mean, we all still remember the little high sign that the mothership came in, and it was so, like I said, resounding, and it spoke to everyone, I think, in mass. And that's how I feel about your music. You have the same resonance, the same tonality, the same vibration. You evoke a certain energy in your presence. And I think it just makes people really listen a lot more to the music than I think any other band. But I also wanted to say, you said something about this, you know, the computer age and what's happening now visually, and possibly having a holographic reality in this dimension. I think that sometimes it takes something like that for people like us, or people who aren't aware of the possibilities of another reality, to see it visually. People are so visual. They need to see it with their own eyes. But I think that you might even realize that there are other dimensions. There is an interdimensional reality. There are parallel universes possibly as well. How do you feel about parallel universes? Do you feel that maybe we have another existence other than this?
It's around us all the time.
Yeah.
I see it I see it every day.
Do you?
It's just the way I am. I don't close my eyes to that potential. And it's so funny. Yesterday morning, you know, we have these sort of rabbits pottery made of pottery, and they're just sort of scattered around the garden. And for the last 3 mornings, this lizard has sat on top of this one rabbit, and I look at it, and it looks at me. So for 3 days running, it sits on top of the head of this rabbit, and I just looked at it yesterday, and it didn't run away. It just looked at me for a while, and then it skipped away, and that was it. And I just thought, boy, oh boy, that's such a connection, you know, on so many levels.
Right.
And it's a very tiny, you know, it's a tiny little creature, but it didn't run away. It just looked at me, and I looked at it, and, you know, whatever we had a little connection. And people say, John, stop hugging the trees.
Oh, my goodness.
You know, I just think, you know, there's more to life than we know, and that's why we live.
I love it.
To find these things.
I love that you hug trees. I am so into nature. I moved from California. I live in Rhode Island now. And the nature here is just so different than the West Coast. And I, like you, love the animals. And I've had a few birds that I've spoken to, and I've got beautiful trees in my yard. I take pictures every day. We're all connected. And so the fact that you would
For
have a
sure.
connection makes absolute
Yeah.
perfect sense to me. So don't think it's silly.
No, no, no. I don't think at all. But I know some people are going to say, "Oh, there he goes." It's like Rick Wakeman's probably got the best joke about me ever. He says this in his stage show because he does a lot of sort of stand up as well as his music. He said, "Jon Anderson's the only guy he knows trying to save this planet while living on another one."
He's
Which is
awesome.
beautiful.
No,
Yeah.
it's perfect. You know, and
Yep.
also there's so much when you think about things, when you're just really conscious and aware and living in the moment, there's so much synchronicity that happens all around you. And I was listening to an interview that you had done, and you were actually in Denmark and you were on tour and you felt a little down in the dumps and you didn't know why. And you were just feeling that you weren't reaching maybe the audience that you really wanted to. You felt like you were going around in circles. And you told a lovely story about going to look for an amulet while I don't know if you were still in
Yeah,
Denmark.
yeah,
Could you share that
yeah.
story with the listeners? Because it's so beautiful.
Well, that morning, as I said, we did a show in Copenhagen, and there were a lot of older people there. I thought we're not reaching the young people. We're not reaching as many people as I would love. You always think that you want to reach as many people as possible. And we were flying to Sweden, so I went to the airport, and I was looking for something to wear on stage, like an amulet around my neck and stuff. So I went into this store, a little tiny store in a very small airport. This is like 1974 or 73, something like that. And I was looking for something, and this young lady came around who was working in the shop. She was Asian, and she said, "Oh, I can help you. I can help you." And I said, "No, it's okay, thank you. I'm just looking for something." "Oh, please let me help," she said. And I said, "No, I'm okay." And so I'm sort of looking around. She said, you look like a rock star. Are you a rock star?" And I said, "Well, I'm a musician, but thank you very much." And she said, "Oh, please, I have to ask you a question. I'm from Cambodia, and we escaped from Cambodia so many years ago, and I always had a cassette machine with me, a little player, and I would play this music of this man, and I just love this music." And she looked at me right in the eyes and she said, "Do you know this man? His name is Jon Anderson."
Oh my God.
And I said, "Pardon?" She said, he sings with Vangelis, this John M. Vangelis. "Do you know this man?" And I said, "I can't believe this. It's me." And she nearly fainted. And from that moment, I realized, well, earlier on that morning, I've been sort of complaining that nobody was connecting with the songs that I sing. And there she was, a young lady who had escaped from the terrors of Vietnam and Cambodia. And she'd actually listened to John Vangelis all the way in her fight for freedom. And it really touched my heart so deeply. And we kept in touch for a couple of years, sending cards and things. But just the fact that God has so many answers to give you along your journey.
That's so amazing. And you're so right about that. It's just, again, another affirmation that when we ask for things, we receive. If we ask with pure intent and honesty and humility, we will receive exactly what we need at that moment. Always.
Yes, because we are children of God.
Yes, we are. Jon, I wanted to ask you also, I know that you are not touring with Yes at the moment, but I know that you've been doing some stuff on your own, and you just finished an acoustic tour here on the East Coast, which I unfortunately missed. I was so sad about that, but I also heard that you have something else in the works with a new band. Could you share that with us?
Well, I'm just working with a couple of people, a wonderful musician who lives in Paris called Jean-Luc Ponty. He's an incredible violin player and a really beautiful soul. And we've known each other on and off over the years, but just last year I actually started working on songs with him and some of his recordings. And we decided we would like to get a band together and maybe tour next year. So what we're planning to do is to rehearse later this year. And I'm actually writing some songs as we speak. I finished one yesterday. I'm working with a big friend of mine, Jamie, who lives down in Los Angeles. And we're sort of, the wonderful thing about the internet, you can make music together overnight, and he can send me an MP3 of what he did yesterday, then I'll sing it and send it back to him. We'll reorganize some ideas of music. And then we send it to Jean-Luc, and he will add a couple of things. It's a wonderful way of making music. You don't even have to be in the same room. We're all on the same planet.
Exactly.
Nice.
Exactly. So then are you planning on doing a tour with them?
Yes, we're talking about, I was just on the phone before you called.
Awesome.
We're talking about touring next spring, March, April, May, possibly June. And that will take us, we hope, the Far East, South America, Europe, and then America and Canada. And, shows here and there. And it'll be very interesting how it evolves and how it develops. But we're very, very excited to put together a show which will be very fresh, very new. And I'm always interested in doing that. It's part of my life.
Yes, it is. It seems like you're always evolving, and I think that's the perfect way to be.
Yeah.
Excellent.
As you say, the musical gods will help along the way.
Definitely. Well, Jon, I just wanted to thank you for joining us today at Random Alien Brain Droppings. If you have anything that you would like to say to the people out there who are fans, as far as any words of wisdom that you'd like to share?
No, I just want to wish everybody a wonderful day, and living in the now is very important. The past is gone and the future hasn't come yet, so live in the moment and enjoy life and enjoy the experience as much as you can of life. And there are so many wonderful things out there, and I wish you well. Thank you so much.
And be good people.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you, Jon.